What's up, guys? I'm Caden with Crypto Now or Never, and today I'm going to be giving a market update. If you enjoy this style of content, please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. As always, none of this is financial advice. Let's get into it.
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want.
Okay, so if we just start out by looking at the overall crypto market, you can see that a lot of the market is starting to have a little bit of a pullback. For example, Bitcoin's down 1.3% in the last day, and it's down 0.8% in the last week. Ethereum is down 2.2% in the last day, but it's actually up 12.6% in the last week. And in general, if we come up here, you can see that Bitcoin dominance is starting to climb a little bit again. However, honestly, this was to be expected. In a lot of my previous videos, I've been showing you guys the Bitcoin dominance chart. And I'm actually very bullish on the Bitcoin dominance chart because we have lost the 200-day moving average. That is a very good sign for altcoins. However, there was a very good chance that we were going to get a bounce because the RSI and stochastics were extremely oversold. And Bitcoin dominance is not just going to drop forever. So again, the odds of us getting a bounce were very good. Now, what I would personally love to see right here is for price action to come up here and have a bearish retest off of the 200-day. If we see price action come up here and get rejected off of this level, that will be excellent for altcoins. And I know a lot of people don't even want to see Bitcoin dominance rise at all, but it's going to happen. We just want to make sure we put in a lower high. But the reason Bitcoin dominance was dropping in general is if you come over here and you look at Bitcoin, you can see that Bitcoin's kind of just been flagging out. But if you look at Ethereum, that hasn't been the case. Ethereum has just been ripping for days on end. And finally, yesterday, we had our first red candle in over a week. And to be honest with you guys, I'm actually a little bit relieved to see that. Because when you look at the RSI and stochastics, we are extremely overbought. It is the complete opposite of the Bitcoin dominance chart. Again, you look at Bitcoin dominance, extremely oversold. You look at Ethereum, extremely overbought. And it's just almost guaranteed that you're going to pull back pretty soon when you see this. So what I am personally watching for Ethereum is to see if Ethereum can just form some sort of a little bull flag pattern. And ideally, while this bull flag would start to fill out, the RSI and stochastics would start to reset. And then potentially the 21-day moving average could just creep up here and price action could actually get a bounce off of it as a support level. If that happens, then it'll be a very bullish look for Ethereum. And you have to understand, right now, Ethereum is getting close to key levels. If you zoom out, you could argue that Ethereum has already had a triple top this cycle. This 4100 range has been major resistance. So we definitely want to see Ethereum break above 4100. We do not want to come up and put in a quadruple top. But again, these breakouts can take a little bit of time. I know a lot of people don't want to pull back because it's also going to affect the altcoin market. But you have to just have perspective in this market. Just remember, it was only a few months ago that Ethereum was down here at $1,380. And even right now, after this little pullback, we're still at $3,600. Now, I am anticipating Ethereum to drop a little bit more again, as I said. But $3,600 is still a great level. I don't think a lot of people expected us to be here in July. Now, if we look at the S&P, you can see the S&P is also just ripping from here. If you guys watched my market update, I think 3 updates ago, you would have seen me draw the S&P in this bull flag. And I said I was very bullish on this bull flag because we were coming down and retesting the 21-day. And we also had very oversold stochastics. And oftentimes when you see a setup like that, it's very bullish. And you can see in this case, we actually went above the measured move. The S&P has just been ripping. So do understand the S&P eventually is also going to have a pullback. No chart runs forever. But to be clear, this is actually a perfect example of what I'm looking for Ethereum. The chart formed a bear flag and it bounced off the 21-day. Again, we come over and we look at the Ethereum chart. I'm looking for something similar yet again. The flag to fill out, which will cause the stochastics and RSI to drop and the 21 to creep up. So keep your eyes on those levels. Now, lastly, I just want to take a look at some overall macro news right now. So if we come over to Watch a Guru, you can see that there's just been some crazy news happening. So 41 minutes ago, Goldman Sachs and BNY to launch digital tokens tied to money market funds. Everyone is starting to get involved with digital assets. And then 16 hours ago, the SEC approves the conversion of Bitwise 10 crypto index fund into an ETF holding the following cryptocurrencies. And you can see those 10 cryptocurrencies right here: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Cardano, Sui, Litecoin, Polkadot, Chainlink, and AVAX, or Avalanche. And then 13 hours ago, BNB reached a new all-time high. But then even stuff like this right here, 16 hours ago, Jack Dorsey squared to allow merchants to accept Bitcoin starting today. There's just so much adoption happening for crypto every single day. Even though we might see a little bit of a pullback, just don't lose focus on the bigger picture. So that's about it for the update today. As always, I recommend taking a look at my Discord, especially if you guys are interested in getting into projects super early. As you guys know, we've been making some huge gains in here. If you look at the all-time gainer list, we have hit some massive multipliers. Some of these projects you could have turned $1,000 into over $200,000. So if this is the kind of community that you'd like to be a part of, you can find the link right here on my YouTube homepage. It'd be awesome to see you guys in there with us. But that's about all. Let me know down in the comments how you guys are feeling about the market. If you found this content valuable, please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your day.